Half-Human, or Jujin Yukiotoko, Beastman Yeti in the original Japanese, was released on August 14th of 1955. It was produced by Toho Studios, runs for 95 minutes, filmed in black and white and in 1.37 to 1 film aspect ratio. This was director Ishiro Honda's second monster film after the original Godzilla film produced in 1954, and Toho's fourth post-war special effects film following Godzilla and Motoyoshi Oda's films Invisible Man and Godzilla Raids Again. Half-Human was actually in development as far back as the original Godzilla film and was meant to release earlier, but was delayed and its crew reassigned to Godzilla Raids Again. Like the earlier two Godzilla films, Half-Human is drawn from a short story by science fiction author Shigeru Kayama, with a screenplay fashioned by Takeo Murata. Eiji Tsuburaya returns as special effects director, using a combination of costumes, miniatures, stop motion, and rotoscoping to bring the title creature to life. Although Half-Human was in development even before the release of the original Godzilla, unlike that film, it was not directly influenced by contemporaneous American films of the same genre. Rather, it was one of several abominable snowman movies that were inspired by mountaineer Eric Shipton's famous Yeti footprint discovery in the Himalayas in 1951. Other films produced in the Yeti craze include the 1954 American film The Snow Creature and the 1957 British film The Abominable Snowman. In contrast to Godzilla's nuclear symbolism and allegory, Half-Human is a more straightforward by-the-numbers creature feature with familiar formulaic story beats. This unfortunately blunts the film's overall impact and leaves one with the distinct impression that it was merely produced to take advantage of the concurrent Yeti craze in world media at the time, and not to tell any particularly compelling story or teach any profound moral lesson. By this time, you're probably wondering, what's up with this timecode on the footage? You see, Half-Human has never had an official release on home video in North America, nor in Japan itself. The only way to view the film is through bootlegged media, and all available media of Half-Human appears to be derived from a single source, which has a burnt-in timecode. Some bootlegs attempt to obscure the timecode by blurring the top of the screen or applying some other distortion, while the majority of copies, including the version I obtained, present the source as is. This is the unfortunate state of affairs until such time as Toho decides to reissue Half-Human, although the chances of that happening are slim due to reasons which we will touch on later. The film is told in flashback and is bookended by scenes of the main cast relating the plot to a reporter during a layover at a small train station. A group of student friends go on a skiing trip.
Skiing is the correct pronunciation, they tell us.
Yeah, well, you're full of skit.
In the mountainous Nagano region. The trip takes a dark turn when the group is separated, with half of them reaching the safety of a travel lodge and the others presumably lost in a blizzard while attempting to reach a different lodge. When the weather clears, they find the second lodge destroyed and their friends either dead or missing. All signs point to a large animal as the culprit, although the exact identity of the beast remains a mystery. The search cannot continue in the winter, so the story picks back up after the winter thaw, when the survivors of the ski trip return to the area with their university professor in tow. They reach the brink of a valley, a place so disreputable that even their experienced guides refuse to lead them any further. No sooner do they pitch camp than they are visited by a lumbering ape-like creature, the titular half-human beast. The beast lives in a cave in the valley near a secluded village of hunter-gatherers who worship it and its lone offspring as local deities. The university expedition draws closer to the village in search of answers. A crooked exhibitionist and his motley crew, intent on capturing the beast for their own get-rich-quick schemes, also appear on the scene. The villagers themselves are close-minded, distrustful of outsiders, and prone to violence when disturbed. As the threads all come together, conflict is inevitable, and the final outcome is as tragic as you might expect. The cast of Half-Human is stacked with returning faces from Honda's prior Godzilla film, including the two leads Akira Takarada and Momoko Kochi, here playing Takashi and Michiko, respectively. Takarada and Kochi have both come a long way in the mere 9 months since Godzilla, in which time they added several more films to their respective portfolios. Their performances are less stilted and more nuanced, and Takarada in particular has already adopted the suave, confident demeanor that would be his trademark for the remainder of his career. Nobuo Nakamura appears as the leader of the university expedition as a mentor/lead scientist. Nakamura would play scientists again in later genre films like Dogora, Frankenstein Conquers the World, and War of the Gargantuas. He's also well known for appearing in Akira Kurosawa classics like Ikiru, The Bad Sleep Well, and High and Low. Nakamura is certainly a capable actor, but his role in this film as Professor Tanaka is, like the rest of the film, very much by the book. Akemi Negishi takes second billing as the exotic Chika, a tribal girl with a rebellious streak who takes an interest in Takarada's character. Kuninori Kodo is the village chief. once again basically reprising his roles from both Seven Samurai and Godzilla. The best performance of the film has to be Yoshio Kosugi as Oba, the exhibitionist hunting the creature. He's so over-the-top cruel and greedy he makes everyone else look stale by comparison. Genre regulars Sachio Sakai, Yasuhisa Tsutsumi, Akira Sera, Akira Tani, and others round out the supporting cast, filling out the search party, Oba's gang, and the villagers. Now about these villagers. You might notice that they are all portrayed as primitive, arbitrarily aggressive, and suffering from various physical and mental ailments. Or at least all of them except for Chika, who is strangely immune from all that. That's one of the perks of top billing, I guess. It may not be obvious to Western viewers, but the villagers are caricatures of the Barakumin, a Japanese people group associated with undesirable or impure occupations dating back to the feudal era. Think gravediggers, executioners, anything where you touch a dead body, really. They occupy a lower caste in society and are often found living apart from society as a result, sometimes in secluded hamlets as depicted in the film. In fact, the ailments you see on screen imply not just their extreme poverty, but inbreeding as well. Since the film's release, various advocacy groups have emerged to combat discrimination against the Barakumin. In response to these efforts, Toho has declined to release Half Human in its original format on home video, and only rarely exhibits it in theaters. Now, moving on. The special effects are once again handled by Eiji Tsuburaya and once again make use of a man in a monster suit, albeit on a much smaller scale than your average kaiju film. In an interesting twist, the creature is not played by Tsuburaya's go-to suit actor Haruo Nakajima, but rather by the multi-talented actor, director, and creature effects designer Fuminori Ohashi, credited here under the stage name Sanshiro Sagara. In fact, Ohashi created an early version of the beast costume to be used in this film, although it was later replaced by a second design by sculptor Teizo Toshimitsu. Ohashi's stature, tall for a Japanese, combined with the menacing costume, make for an impressive, intimidating, and threatening effect. An effects film of this nature sinks or swims on the execution of the title creature, and Ohashi does not disappoint. The creature's less expressive and less convincing offspring doesn't fare quite so well. As is typical of Tsuburaya's sci-fi work from this era, the special effects are a mixed bag of various techniques, some reliable and some experimental. Some scenes are expertly executed with miniatures, such as Oba's caravan of trucks careening down a cliffside, or the avalanche scene early on in the film. Other scenes, like Takashi dangling over a ravine, are a little less convincing, but still compelling in their own charming way. One of the weirdest effects has Ohashi's Beastman lifting Kosugi's Oba and then hurling him to his doom. The two actors aren't even in the same shot together. Ohashi pantomimes the motions, and Kosugi, curled up in a ball on the floor, probably, is composited into the frame and tracked up and down to match Ohashi. It's a jarring effect, and it only gets sillier the longer you think about it.
Quite agree. Silly. Right.
The music is by Maestro Masaru Sato in one of his very few collaborations with director Honda. The only other film I'm aware of where they worked together is 1958's The H-Man. As with Sato's score for Godzilla Raids Again, the music works quietly in the background for most of the film, never overpowering the action in the foreground. The opening titles are certainly dramatic, although there aren't any noticeable themes that recur in the remainder of the film. There is one particular scene when the beast inexplicably rescues Takashi from his hanging predicament, where Sato's accompaniment is suitably mysterious and eerie, but still disappointingly subdued. In the final analysis, I have to consider this film a disappointment. The acting all around is terrific, the mood is satisfactorily suspenseful for most of the runtime, and the craftsmanship of the special effects is generally superb. It's the concept of the film itself, the cliched subhuman beast story and all its tropes, that drags the film down. The portrayal of the villagers doesn't help things either, controversies aside. They're just so unsympathetic that, when the beast lashes out at them in the latter half of the film, I don't really feel anything for them, good or bad. Honestly, I don't understand why the beautiful, lithe, and fair Chika spends any more time around them than she absolutely has to. It's pretty clear they don't like her. There's a mystique about this film given its history and its elusiveness, but unless a copy conveniently falls into your lap, I don't think it's entirely worth the effort. I give it a 2 out of 4 stars. While Half Human was not widely released in its original format outside of Japan, it did reach the United States in an edited format in 1958. Produced by Distributors Corporation of America, or DCA, this Americanized version featured new scenes starring John Carradine, a prolific actor whose career spanned over 50 years. Here he plays Dr. John Rayburn, a scientist who provides crucial exposition about the creature to his associates.
Length, the depth of the print. Their composite picture described the species as being 9 feet tall and weighing around 1,800 pounds.
This version of Half Human, properly titled Half Human, The Story of the Abominable Snowman, was released on VHS in 1990 by Rhino Home Video, and again in 1998 by Englewood Entertainment. In 2021, Renown Pictures, a British distributor, collected several obscure titles, including Half Human, in the Renown Pictures Monster Collection Volume 2 DVD set. Otherwise, the John Carradine cut of Half Human has been almost as elusive as the original Japanese version. As of this recording, there are no plans to release the original version on home video.